WAEB.
You're listening to the Stars of Stabler interviews on the original Sunday Night Hall of Fame and AM 790 WAEB. Allentown, East in Bethlehem, the Lehigh Valley's #1 oldies voice.
You're listening to Rod Wolf on the Lehigh Valley's original Sunday Night Hall of Fame.
WAEB.
The greatest hits of all time from the station that made them famous. WAEB.
The original Sunday Night Hall of Fame is proud to present a tribute to one of the greatest entertainers to ever perform in the Lehigh Valley. We begin our story on November 5th, 1947, when Peter Blair Dennis Bernard Noone was born. I asked Peter to tell us where he was born, why he wound up with so many names, and is it possible he possesses the longest name in rock and roll history?
I was born and raised in Manchester, England, and then my parents moved to Liverpool, which is kind of up, I would suppose.
How did you get so many names?
Well, when I was christened, or baptized, whatever it is, I was Peter Blair Noone. And that was my mother's brother's name, my mother's maiden name, and my father's surname. And he was unhappy that he wasn't involved. So then they put Dennis in, and my mother's other brother, she had two brothers, and he was unhappy that his brother had been mentioned, and my dad had been mentioned, and he wasn't mentioned, so they added Bernard. Because I have an uncle who's a priest called Bernard, and he got in there as well. So there's a bunch of us now. I got everybody, Peter, Blair, Dennis, Bernard, my dad's name, and my mother's two brothers' name.
It has to be the longest name in rock and roll history.
Well, I don't know. I think a couple of those Fats Domino types have got lots of names there, you know. You know, their real names are like Baudelaire the Third and something. But it is the longest English name. It sounds sort of regal, you know. It sounds like I must come have some royal blood. In fact, it's Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. I'm gonna stand there on the corner of Swell Street and Vine. I'm gonna stand there on the corner of 12th Street and Vine, with my Kansas City baby and my Kansas City wine. Yeah, I might take a plane, I might take a train, but if I have to walk, I'm gonna get there just the same. Going to Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. Yeah. I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one.
Peter Noone was attending the Manchester College of Music when he joined his first rock and roll band. It didn't last long, but he soon was at it again. I asked Peter about his early musical career and how he came to name the new band Hermits. At this point, I should mention that this interview was conducted backstage at Stabler Arena. The stars of our Christmas Spectacular use locker rooms for their dressing rooms. Now, due to Peter's wealth of charm and wit, I was already finding it hard enough to keep a straight face when suddenly in the background we hear evidence of just where the interview is taking place.
How did the Hermits meet, and how did you get together, and how did all that happen?
Hermits originally started it started from about 5 different bands. I was in Manchester College of Music, and I met these chaps who were studying music there, and we decided to form a band. And that lasted about one gig, I think. We did one gig in an upstairs hairdresser's party or something, and something went wrong, and I was the guitar player, so you can imagine how good we were. And then I met a guy called Alan Wrigley and Steve Titterington, two guys, and they had a band called the Heartbeats, and I joined them. And then we got Carl Green he had some band, and Keith Hopwood had another band, and then Derek Leckenby and Barry Whitwan were in a band called the Wailers, and we brought them in, and we called ourselves Hermits. And the rest is pathetic. A nice flush. difficult to do this, isn't it? Maybe now they've stopped. Okay, we'll try again.
Who picked the name, Herman's Hermits?
The name Herman came from the Bullwinkle show. There was like Sherman and Professor Peabody in the Bullwinkle show, and we thought his name was Herman. So we called me Herman, and some guy we were working in what was a bar, but it was because we were all too young to be in bars. They didn't serve alcohol while we were there. So the barman, who was already unhappy that we had long hair and looked terrible, said, "Why don't you call yourself the Bloody Hermits?" So we did.
Singing the blues. So be my guest, you got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Yeah, I feel like jumping. Baby, won't you join with me? I don't like begging, but now I'm on my bending knees. I gotta keep it moving, get my hat off the rack. I gotta boogie-woogie like a knife's in my back. So be my guest, you got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Baby, I ain't lying. My heart is beating rhythm and it's right on time. So be my guest, you got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Yeah, I feel like jumping. Baby, won't you join with me? I don't like begging, but now I'm on my bending knees. I gotta keep it moving, get my hat off the rack. I gotta boogie-woogie like a knife's in my back. So be my guest, you got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise?
It's 1964 and Herman's Hermits are trying to secure a recording contract. A European star named Mickey Most was the individual who helped the group get that contract, and he would go on to produce all their biggest hits. Peter Noone remembers how Mickey Most came to manage the group and how Capitol Records managed to miss out on not only the Hermits, but another one of the biggest groups of the British music invasion.
How did you make Mickey Most?
Mickey Most, I saw him he did a show, he toured, and he did Manchester one night, he opened for the Everly Brothers. It was the Everly Brothers, the Rolling Stones, and Mickey Most. And he opened the show, and he was great. He was great. And he played the guitar, and he played all kinds of songs that I liked. And then the next night we saw him again, Everly Brothers, Rolling Stones, and it was before the Rolling Stones, they were unheard of at the time. And he was great again, and I thought it was really cool because for some reason, my sister had something to do with the Everly Brothers, so I went backstage and I was really impressed. They all Everly Brothers, who were big stars, got out and got in a bus, but Mickey Most got out backstage and got in a Porsche. I said, this guy is happening. Because he'd had a big recording career in South Africa. He was a big superstar in South Africa. He was bigger than Elvis. So I was really impressed with this guy. And then I heard a record by the Animals, like Baby Let Me Follow You Down or something. Really early days Animals. And I said, wow, that great guitar player. I mean, he was a bad guitar player, but I thought he was great because he played the kind of songs I liked. So I called him up and I said, you should produce us. And he said, who are you? He said, we're this band called Herman's Hermits, we're great. And he just ignored it. So we sent him a plane ticket and a first-class plane ticket to Manchester, which is about 200 miles from London. And we prepaid a night in the best hotel. And he came down and watched us. What he did was he wanted to sign me, he didn't want to sign the band. So that's when we fired that band and got Derek Leckenby and Barry Whitman.
Do you remember how you wound up on MGM Records in the States?
It was basically by accident. We signed with EMI for the World, which was Capitol in America, but the man who was the head of Capitol at the time said, we don't want them, we've already got an English band. And he didn't want an English band, so they dropped the Dave Clark Five, who were also signed for free, and he dropped Herman's Hermits. That's 100 million records.
But he kept that other English band.
Yeah, they had the Beatles,
Yeah,
and he thought, we've got an English band already, and they're not going to happen, so why will the other ones happen? It was before the British invasion.
For your love, for your love, for your love, I'd give you everything and more, that's for sure. For your love, I'd bring you diamonds and things right to your door. For your love, to thrill you with delight, I will bring you diamonds bright. There'll be days that will excite, make you dream of me at night. For your love, for your love, for your I'd give the stars above. For your love, I could give you all I could. For your love, for your love, for your love, I'd give the moon if it were mine to give. For your love, I'd give the stars and the sun, for I live. For your love, to thrill you with delight, I'd give you diamonds bright. There'll be days that will excite, and make you dream of me at night. For your love, for your love, for your
In the fall of 1964, the Hermits had their first hit in America. The same song had been charted on Billboard in June of that year by Earl Jean McCrae, the former lead singer of the girl group The Cookies.
Woke up this morning feeling fine, 'cause there was something special on my mind. Last night I met a new boy in the neighborhood. Well, yeah. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something good. He's kinda quiet, but not too shy, and I can tell he's my kind of guy. He danced every slow dance with me like I hoped he would. He danced with me like I hoped he would. Now something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something good. We only talked for a minute or two, and it felt like I knew him my whole life through. I don't know if you can call it love, but he's everything I've been dreaming of. When he walked me home and he held my hand, I knew it wouldn't be just a one-night stand. 'Cause he has to see me next week, and I told him he could. He has to see me and I told him he could. Well, something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something good.
It's been widely publicized that Herman's Hermits covered the original version of I'm Into Something Good. Tonight on the Hall of Fame, Peter Noone sets the story straight.
The first hit in America, I'm Into Something Good, was by the lead singer of the Cookies, Earl Jean McCrae. How did that happen?
Well, it wasn't a cover. What happened was we recorded it from the Carole King demo. Carole King wrote it with Jerry Goffin. It was a demo, you know, Carole King. It's fabulous. The Carole King demo is beautiful. It's so beautiful. And we recorded it, and she recorded it at the same time. And we didn't have a record deal in America. So we got the hit in England and the rest of the world. She got the hit in America. And then we forced it out in America. No record companies wanted it. MGM wanted it. So we said, let's sign with them. They're smart. And It's good. I'm into something good. Is in Naked Gun. Have you seen Naked Gun yet?
I'm ready to. I heard it's a riot.
It's the theme tune for the movie. So it'll be a single again by Peter Noone, 24 years later.
Great. I will play.
If you don't play it, I'll come and beat you up.
Woke up this morning feeling fine. There's something special on my mind. Last night I met a new girl in the neighborhood. Whoa, yeah. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something. She's the kind of girl who's not too shy, and I can tell I'm her kind of guy. She danced close to me like I hope she would. She danced with me like I hope she would. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something. We only danced for a minute or two, and then she stuck close to me the whole night through. Can I be the one in love? She's everything I've been dreaming of. She's everything I've been dreaming of. I went to home and she held my hand. I knew it couldn't be just a one night stand. So I asked to see her next week, and she told me I could. I asked to see her and she told me I could. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something. Something tells me I'm into something. She told me I could. I asked to see her and she told me I could. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something good. Oh yeah, something.
There's I'm Into Something Good, the title song from the 1988 hit movie Naked Gun. Suddenly, Peter Noone and the Hermits were worldwide teen idols. On Easter Monday, 1965, the group made its very first appearance in America at the Notre Dame Bandstand. It was pandemonium, not only here in the Lehigh Valley, but at all stops during their first American tour. I asked Peter what it was like to be 16 years old and chased by thousands of teenage girls.
The first hit is I'm Into Something Good. Now, Gene mentioned you came to America in early 1965.
Right here.
Well, how old is it?
I think late 65 must have been 16 or 16 or maybe 7. I don't know, 16 or 17. I can't work out how long.
I can't imagine what it was like being 16 years old and having girls running after me.
It was pretty exciting because, like, a week before they were running after me, I'd have to ask them to dance, and they'd say no. And suddenly they were asking me to dance and other things. And that was more interesting than dancing.
Every time I see you looking my way, baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? In the park or walking down the highway, baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? When you move up closer to me, I get a feeling that's ooey. Can't you hear the pounding of my heartbeat? 'Cause you're the one I love. You're the one I love. When I feel you put your arms around me, baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? Then I'm mighty glad I found you. Baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? When you asked me to meet your mom, I knew that baby we'd be going far. Can't you hear the pounding of my heartbeat? 'Cause you're the one I love. You're the one I love. crying out to meet you. Baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? Now's the time to go and see the preacher. Baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? Red bells are gonna chime. Baby, baby, you're gonna be mine. Can't you hear the pounding of my heartbeat? 'Cause you're the one I love. You're the one I love. Baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? Baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat? Baby, baby, can't you hear my heartbeat?
In the spring of 1965, Herman's Hermits released their third straight hit in America. It was their version of a 1957 hit by the Rays. The recording session featured a now famous guitarist and one of the fastest fade-outs in rock and roll history.
I know there's great trivia with the song Silhouettes.
Well, Silhouettes was one of my dad's records, you know. I mean, it's one of those things that it was kind of one of the, you know, when you always hate your dad's records, but what happened was that we were trying to come up with a song in the studio, and Jimmy Page was the guitar player on the session, and he said he was playing when he warms up at a session, he goes and Mickey Mo said, why don't we use that as the intro for, like, we'll do something like Silhouettes or something. And we did it, and it was such a great record. I mean, it turned out it's such a great record. Jimmy Page invented the business. I mean, it was his song.
I have to ask you, why the fast fade?
Oh, God. We ran out of tape. I mean, what happened was that we had one reel of tape, and the best take happened, it just went through the gate. So we said, what can we do? We can't beat that. We tried to on another reel of tape, and we couldn't beat it, so we had to go back to that version and just fade it quick.
I remember being on the radio back then and playing that.
Well, it was before the 70s when you had time to go to the bathroom during a song. This was like 1 minute 57.
Yeah, and it's like it disappeared, and I had nothing ready to go. You get the next record queued up.
It was the period of quickies, you know, all the records were quickies in those days. Da-da-da, gone.
Your house late last night, all the shades were pulled and drawn way down tight. From within the dim light cast two silhouettes on the shade. Oh, what a lovely couple they made. Put his arms around your waist, held you tight, kisses I could almost taste. In the night, wondered why I'm not the guy whose silhouettes on the shade I can hide. The tears in my eyes. Lost control and rang your bell. I was so, let me in or else I'll beat down your door. When two strangers who had been two silhouettes on the shade said to my shop, you're on the wrong block. Rushed down to your house with wings on my feet. Loved you like I never loved you, my sweet. Vowed that you and I would be two silhouettes on the shade all of our days. Two silhouettes on the shade.
Silhouettes with one of the fastest fades in rock and roll history.
The $1 Million Weekend, WAEB.